You know what I find funny and entertaining about Raw these days? It's called Raw, but the show's really produced and it follows a format every single week, which is cool. I don't mind it, but that is a contradiction in terms. You can't call your show Raw and then not have like a raw, edgy, unexpected, spontaneous product. That don't make no sense, WWE, but who cares about that? Because my name is Simon Miller, this is WhatCulture Wrestling, and we're about to up those downs for Raw. And if you don't know what that means, I watch the television show that goes down on Monday nights, and if something's good, I give it an up, and if something is bad, I give it a down, and then the world crumbles and falls to its knees because nobody wants a damn down. Let's up those downs. Raw started with the official announcement that yes, Renee Young is now gonna be a full-time commentator for the show, and you know what? Let's get it up. Say what you want, but not only does she deserve it because she's good at doing that, but she's also a darn sight better than Jonathan Coachman, so that's just a win-win. Then the show ticked forward, and while seeing Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre come out as a team, the way they did it was ridiculous, because we got Dolph Ziggler's theme for about 10 seconds, then we got Drew McIntyre's theme for about 10 seconds, then eventually Braun Strowman came out, and we got his entire theme, because I guess, I don't know, he's the most over guy, or he's higher up the card than the other two. This was absolutely ridiculous, and I felt like it stole my life away to the point I'm going to be on my deathbed going, oh, remember that time I had to go through all these themes? Just get your own damn music if you're a team now. Down. And another down because they were accompanied by half the Raw roster, and I hate it when WWE does this because you've just made half of your roster look like absolute geeks. Now, as a visual, it looked very cool, but Kevin Owens was out there. Why is Kevin Owens out there? He's a former Universal Champion. I'd like to think he's a bigger deal than this. From here, there was a lot of chatter about how Dolph and Drew are going to destroy the B team later on in their tag team title rematch, but then Braun Strowman is going to take that beating. He's going to multiply that by 10, and that's what Roman Reigns is in for at Sunday when they have a big old fight at Hell in the Cell. Also, these three have a name now, and they're called the Dogs of War. At first, I just thought it was a cool line that Braun Strowman threw out there, but then Michael Cole said it about 72,000 times throughout the night, so I guess that's what these people are. They're the Dogs of War. I mean, I could have come up with 1,000 things better than that. Even if you would call them like Ice Cream Tree, which makes no sense, I would have preferred that to Dogs of War. Naturally, this triggered Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose to appear. They came at the crowd without their titles again, by the way. And again, this is all standard affair and it's fun to watch. But here's the issue. Now, I'm all for these multi-man brawls because they look good. And yeah, seeing Roman, Demon, Seth absolutely dismantle all those geeks we just mentioned, that's just good TV. Just good television. They look dominant, they got some weapons, and they beat up Jinder Mahal. But I am just not feeling the heat from this that I think WWE wants me to feel. I mean, the war between the Dogs of War and the Shield, it kind of feels a little bit manufactured and like we reunited the Shield because, hey, that's something to do, and also, you know, it will stop Roman Reigns getting booed. I don't think there was any plans before this, so now it doesn't feel like the Shield is in a smart feud. Because of that, it's a down. Also, the scripting in these opening segments seems to be getting more and more obvious. I mean, usually I'm fine with it, but this time it was just full of branding and buzzwords to the point I was like, no one talks like that. And if you did talk like that, you wouldn't have many friends because your friends would be like, oh no, here comes Dolph. Oh, and it's Drew as well. They're just going to say ridiculous things that make no sense. I don't want to talk to them. So yeah, not my favourite start to Raw, especially because we're only a few days away from Hell in a Cell. And if I thought that, I'd love to know what you think. Comments below. Then there was some more tension between the Shield, Baron Corbin and the police, and Baron said, look, you did it again, you went out there, you caused a fuss, so unless the Shield gets out of here, not only are you going to go back to jail, but I'm going to strip you of your title. This felt exactly like we saw last week. It actually felt a little bit copy and paste, but whatever. They've done it, and it does tie into things later on. And can you believe it? Because we're back to the down, so yeah, give it a down. But after an iPhone video, courtesy of the Bellas, showing them what the Riot Squad had done to their dressing room, we did indeed get Nikki Bella versus Ruby Riott. Now, this was okay. It was nothing too terrible, but given it was only the second match back for Nikki Bella, and it was kind of just there, well, this was just a bizarre 30-minute start to Raw, if I'm completely honest. And then, yeah, Nikki Bella won after she hit Ruby Riott with that, Rack Attack 2.0. I don't know why it's 2.0. Clearly, it's like a different move. Just call it something different. Call it, I don't know, the Bella Bomb. Also, talking of that mobile phone video, at the start, this is what Brie Bella did. She got her phone up, right, and she was recording it, but she kept doing this. No one does that. If you've got evidence of a crime scene, you shoot the crime scene. You don't keep making weird reactions with your face and staring into the camera. Police are going to be like, What have you done? We didn't need to see that. Obviously you're going to be upset. It was your dressing room. We then had a lovely segment between the Big Show and some of the kids associated with Connor's cure. I don't care, man. I've seen a lot of snark for this online. Don't care. Up. They got an announcement and a nice reaction from the fans, and given what these kids have probably been through, I just thought it was one of those moments. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this, and yeah, it can be a bit in your face. I get it, but whatever. Whatever. Sometimes it's just nice to see Goodwill on Monday Night Raw, and that's what this was. Hence why it gets the up. We then segued into a promo video featuring on all the stuff between Undertaker and HBK from last week's Raw, and yeah, this continued to insinuate very heavily that maybe Shawn Michaels is actually going to come back for a match. I mean, I personally don't believe that, but if you were going to watch this and say, I think it could happen, it would be hard to argue it. So WWE has done a damn good job of planting that seed. That's fun to talk about, right? That's fun to debate. Getting up. Then the AOP defeated a couple of jobbers. Now let's forget, this is exactly what they should have done after AOP debuted post-WrestleMania. Well, I ain't worried about it. At least we're doing it now. Because, you know, it's not about the journey, it's about the destination. That's not the right saying at all. Whatever. Drake Maverick's really good here. I like all of this. Let's have the AOP keep destroying people and then give them the tag team championships. Up. Triple H was back on Raw after this, and remember, this isn't the Triple H that we saw at WrestleMania, you know, the bad version of Triple H. This is the good version that we all like and that we think is a damn hero. That shade aside, I like this. Up. Was nothing special, just cut a promo and take it here, but if you closed your eyes and imagine it, it kind of felt like you were back in the Attitude Era, and that's always a nice feeling. And again, much like the Shawn Michaels Taken stuff from about 10 minutes ago, WWE has done a great job in making this feel like a big deal, and I now actually want to watch the Australia Superhero Showdown or whatever that damn thing's called. In short, Triple H thinks Taker has lost it, and that all began after he got into those scuffles with the Game and HBK. Cool! Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre then had their rematch for the tag team titles against the B Team. You know what? Thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't know why, just did. Up. For one, it was just nice that we haven't completely forgotten about Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, although I worry about what their fate is now. And yeah, Drew and Dolph won after their zigzag Claymore combo kick thing, and they do look good as the champs. As you'd imagine, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose ran in afterwards to chase the bad guys away, even though Constable Corbin had told them not to do that. But here's the thing. They changed their clothes, so now they're not the Shield. And this ties into something I'm going to talk about in a minute. But what are you on, man? What do you think I am, a 12-year-old? Oh, they changed their clothes, they're different people. Pathetic. Then we got another cool video package going over everything that happened between Mick Foley and Undertaker at the King of the Ring 1998 and that Hell in a Cell match. And once again, I know I've said this about 1,000 times, but I'll say it 1,001, WWE does these kind of promo packages very well. Even though at the end of this one, I went, this makes me feel like the past is better than the present. Up. Such a bizarre segment between Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin was next, and it was kind of like watching amateur dramatics. It was bonkers. You know what? I like bonkers. Up. Let's just go through it bit by bit. Obviously, Constable Corbin was mad because he told the Shield to go away and they hadn't, but Dean and Seth were like, no, we're not the Shield anymore, as we've addressed, because we're not wearing the same clothes. Corbin was going to punish them anyway, but they said, well, I wouldn't do that just yet, big boy Baron, because we've got a police officer of our own, and he knows that last week you falsified evidence, so unless you do what we want, we're going to have you arrested. Once again, more blackmail on Monday Night Raw. The acting general manager was terrified, and he pleaded with Seth to have a little chat. They did, and at that point, the camera segued outside to where we had Dean Ambrose having a really weird conversation with the police officer, and also the police officer's name badge had Ambrose on it, so I think we were meant to think maybe they were related somehow. And Dean Ambrose also admitted here that he speeds because he sees the speeding limits as suggestions. Kids, don't speed. Also, your kids, don't drive a car. You gotta wait, but do not speed. From nowhere, Rollins and Corbin were back, and Corbin no longer wants to press charges because, again, the blackmail, which we talked about. Just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Kevin Owens arrived next, and you know what? I really like this. Getting it up. Now, I'd still implore you to go and watch my Why WWE Has Given Up on Kevin Owens video. It went live a few hours ago, and I stand by what I said, but I still like this. There were some good elements to it. For one, Kevin Owens was meant to have a match with Tyler Breeze, but the match never got going because Owens was pissed off. He attacked him and eventually powerbombed him on the ring apron. And as I'm sure you've heard, that's the hardest part of the ring. Grabbed a microphone and then he made everything clear. While when he did quit a couple of weeks ago, it was the best feeling he's ever felt in his life, Baron Corbin rang him up all terrified, and Owens said he'd come back if one thing was agreed. He could do whatever he wanted and there was no consequences. And that's all been greenlit. But why did he attack Bobby Lashley 7 days ago? Well, he actually had a very consistent and smart answer for that too. Bobby Lashley was the guy that took out Sami Zayn, so if it wasn't for Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens' new best friend, would be stood by his side, but he's not. He's out injured because of Bobby Lashley. Therefore, Kevin Owens has come back to take the revenge on Bobby Lashley. Hashtag Bobby Lashley. Owens was absolutely excellent here, and I'm all for it, as long as he doesn't get fed to Lashley, and that's my worry, which again is why you should go watch my why video. It's all explained in there, and I think I was right. I like being right. The Ascension then lost to Chad Gable and Bobby Roode again, and this was bad because one, I saw it 7 days ago. Why do I need to say it again? And two, the Ascension were part of the bunch of geeks that came at the start of the show, so they can't even win matches. Why would anybody recruit them to do anything? Down. Roode and Gable were victorious, although WWE are already teasing that they may break up. Gable kept tagging himself in here, including at the finish, where Roode pretty much had the thing won, but Gable's like, no. He tagged himself in, got in there, pop, and gave Victor the Chaos Theory suplex. Now, Roode still seemed pretty happy afterwards, and throughout all this, Gable acted like he was a child, which was very entertaining, so he's getting an up. But if we break these dudes up after only 3 weeks, then I don't know, Roode just beats him, I'm gonna be mad. More backstage nonsense followed, and most weeks I like this, but I know, it just fell off during this episode. It's getting it down. Ziggler was moaning with his new friends, and he started to moan even more when Corbin arrived and said, look Drew, look Dolph, you're gonna have to defend your tag team titles at Hell in a Cell against Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Ziggler wanted to know why, and Corbin was like, I've got my reasons, and as we've established, the reasons were blackmail. Braun Strowman was also really mad here because he wanted to know where Roman Reigns was, and so he went off to try and find Roman Reigns. This was a little bit weak. Ronda Rousey and Natalya versus Mickie James and Alexa Bliss was next though. Fine. Was just a reason to prolong this story, but it worked for me. Ronda Rousey acted like the babyface in peril for a while, then she got really mad. She chucked Mickie James around, locked in the armbar, tap, tap, tap. Rousey and Natalya win. Natty and the champ were celebrating afterwards when she got blindsided by Alexa Bliss, just smashed Ronda Rousey in the ribs, and that will lead us into Hell in a Cell, where I assume Alexa Bliss gets her ass whooped. Also had a quick Ronda Rousey promo after all of this. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best thing that's ever come out of anybody's mouth, but you know what? It was fine. It was Elias' time next as he spat some tea into a stagehand's face because the stagehand had not got him chamomile, and that's what Elias' used to warm up his vocals or coat his vocals. And in the background, Braun was running around going, where is Roman? Because that's the way normal people conduct themselves in a public space. Braun Strowman, you were like really cool a few weeks ago, and now you're just coming across like a big numpty. However, all of this is going to get up, as will the former Drifter coming to the ring, despite having absolutely no feud whatsoever. He did his little song, he insulted the crowd, he got booed. And out of nowhere, Mick Foley's music hit. This was really confusing to me because I swear at one point WWE told us that Mick Foley was coming to TV to talk about all the Triple H and Undertaker stuff, but maybe I've got it wrong. I don't know. Instead, he put Elias over hard here as Elias took the Mick out of Mick. See what I did there? I'm a pretty funny guy. And the long and the short of all of this was he'd been reminiscing about the Hell in a Cell match way back in June 1998, but he wasn't worried about that because he was only worried about one thing, and that was being the special guest ref for Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman at Sunday's pay-per-view. And can you believe it? Stephanie McMahon has agreed. Why she would do that given their history, nobody will ever be able to explain, but who saw this coming? Who saw Mick Foley being the special guest in the main event? And it's made that match 10 times more interesting. It ended even stupider because apparently Stephanie McMahon also said, hey Mick, for the good old times, why don't you also book one match for Raw? Why would she ever do that? And Mick Foley had decided that it would be Elias taking on Finn Balor, and that was coming up next. As a quick aside, given that we do have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and Mick Foley's going to be involved, WWE, please don't kill Mick Foley. Oh yeah, and Finn Balor just beat Elias in a match that didn't really mean anything, which makes sense. I tell you too, I love this new version of Bobby Lashley, whatever version of Bobby Lashley this is. To the point, that's right, you've guessed it, not only is it getting an up, it's getting a golden up. If you don't know what that is, go watch SmackDown Ups and Downs from last week. It's a real thing now. We cut to a video of him working out early in the day, and for some reason, Lio Rush was just there, running around him. This was hilarious to look at, because Bobby Lashley is massive, and Lio Rush is like a little bug. He was talking really fast and being annoying, so Lashley kind of slapped him out of the way, but then he switched into my man Bobby Lashley. And I love that version of Bobby Lashley. Like I just said, he comes across as quaint and funny and a little bit irreverent, but also, he looks like he could whip your ass. That's a good juxtaposition. Given that Rush continued to motivate Bobby after all of this, maybe they're going to be a team, and I actually think that could work. I mean, I'll be wrong, I'm always wrong, but right now, I'm looking forward, at least hoping that I'm right. Then we got our go-home angle for the main event at the pay-per-view, and look, it was decent, it was fine. I wouldn't quite call it exquisite, but it will squeeze out enough. Strowman was looking for Roman backstage, but he couldn't find him, so he decided to go to the ring and call him out, which was smart because WWE has taught us over the years, if you do that, they'll definitely come out, which he did. They had a big fight which ended with Roman Reigns hitting a Samoa Joe onto Braun Strowman off the announce table through like the ringside area. It was quite clear that that ringside area had been padded, so that took a little something away from it. Just a little bit. But before this, Braun Strowman had also threatened Mick Foley, so it has made me more interested in what's going to go down in a few days. Also found out that The Undertaker will be back on Raw next week, and I'll say this, I'll be honest with you. Given that this was the go-home show for Hell in a Cell, it could have been a little bit better. Just a little bit. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's Raw. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. And you can follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you for watching Ups and Downs. Make sure you go out there and share the Ups and Downs loves, which sounds like a euphemism. It is not. And come back in 24 hours where we talk about those ups and downs from the SmackDown.